Jacob?
What?
You use this camera?
Four camera.
Hello? There no sound on here? It's recording.
Now we can go on here. Who's minivan? It's attached to. It's not attached.
That's the Bluetooth, maybe?
It's not attached. Is it on? Well, I can see a million people. Anybody hear me?
We can hear you fine.
Okay, we're having technical difficulties. Sorry.
Oh, green.
Okay, guys, you have to go out of here, please.
Why?
Sorry. Oh, he's on the wrong. Oh, he put me on the wrong shoot. Okay.
What?
Um,
What are you gonna do?
nothing.
What happened? Start scrolling back.
I will.
No, you can't.
We put you on the wrong iPad?
Can't do that.
Okay, good talk. David, Mazel Tov. Everything went all right?
Yes, Mazda.
Yes, thank you. Baruch Hashem, everything went great.
You can't hear about it?
I mean, I could hear.
We can hear.
I hear you.
We can't hear you. You can't hear us.
Ravar, maybe log out, log back in.
Shabbos over in Florida already, Uri?
8:18 we were done.
Oh, you did it early. You did it early.
I mean, I would hope so.
Yes.
Otherwise,
You never
why
know.
see a
I was actually hoping nobody noticed.
He held 24 tonight.
It could be he was in there the whole time.
Don't break the marble brand.
Meaning he was on from Friday.
I'm still in the middle of Shalashudas right now.
He made early Shabbos, so he ended it a little early also.
A Shabbos is over. I'm telling you, it's over. Dog.
Oh,
I'm
but
telling
Mamish,
you.
all the Floridians are in. Givaldi. Rabar, did
David,
you hear
get him
yet?
up. What?
Who gets a Mazel Tov?
You said David gets a Mazda?
Yeah, I made enough for the Shabbos.
Ooh, Mazel
Oh,
Tov.
Mazel
Lots of
Tov, Mazel Tov.
nachas.
Thank you. Red Hashem by you.
Amen. Thank you.
Okay, I'm just trying to get my other thing loaded up over here. Yeah. Hold on. I don't have them. I gave them to TT to put them back. You still can't hear about it? You hear? You could hear. We can't hear. Okay, you're muted now.
No, can you hear me? My wife has yard.
Now we hear you. Yes.
My wife has yard site tonight. Shendel Bas Menachem Mendel.
Shendel Bas
Menachem
Menachem Mendel should have a neshama zav and aliyah.
Amen.
Not like your desk, if you're next to your bed. Next to your bed desk.
Oh, that's.
There was not another challah shaila, is it?
I have one and it's not charged, so it's just not working.
Okay. Where we leave
No,
off?
because
Bottom
on
of your
New Testament.
test, Amud Beis.
Right, I'm just trying to figure out where. We are not going to plant. I'm like, Chad Barnash. That's what it is. Chad
Can you
Barnash.
come here for a second?
3, 6, 7 lines up from the
How does this
bottom.
work?
Oh,
Oh, I'm
mute.
such a dope. I took it out of this and I'm like, hey, it's not working.
David, you got to.
Movie, Spyra, put yourself on mute.
Oh, so Yaakov,
Aren't you
you're
glad
making
I'm
a-
back? Aren't you glad I'm back?
We're very glad. Very glad.
Sorry.
Can you raise the
What'd you
volume
say,
a little
Mike?
bit, please? Are you
I
making a
said raise
scene
the
this week?
volume.
I was a joke. I was a joke.
Oh, are we making a CM? I have no idea. You got to speak to the CM people.
CM department. I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Chad Barnash, B'tziporin. Yeah, that's. You have it. 7 lines up in the bottom. Chad Barnash B'tziporin. There was a person in Tziporin. Also, by Mizvan Kupot Min Tavcha. He wanted to buy meat from the butcher. But the butcher wouldn't give it to him. Tikkun Chadin says that they were in a fight with each other. So he did not want to sell him meat. So what he did a smart thing. He got a goyish friend to go buy the meat, right? And then he brought it to him. So didn't I buy the meat from you ba'al korche, against your will? So he told him, you almost like, did I not? I gave him basa nevela. I gave the guy basa nevela. I didn't give him basa kshera. Right? So what was going on over here? So is this guy trustworthy now, this butcher, or not? I mean, he sold it to a guy, but he sold it as kosher, but he gave him not kosher. So Reb Yirmi B'Shem Reb Chanina, Maisa ba lefnei Rebbe. There was a Maisa came from a Rebbe. We don't have the koyach. We don't have the power to assur the people of Tzipori. We're not allowed to do that. Yeah, meaning basically the way it was back then is that if somebody didn't behave themselves, so then they would put them into cherem, but they put the butcher shop into cherem. But he wouldn't be able to do that. Based on this, he would not be able to do it. Right? So fine. So Rav Nochas, that's the one story. Yeah. Rav Nochas Latamad. Rav went down. We said that Latamad means to Bavel. Yeah. Chamsin Makilin v'chamer alein. And he saw them being makel, so therefore he decided he's going to be machor for them. How's that? Chad bar nash ozl. So a person went, boy, mishizga askufse begavnara, and he wanted to wash his meat in the river. Benishtav ozale, and he forgot some of it and he left. Chazar boy misivna, and he went back and he wanted to take it. So Rav asaloch. So Rav said it's asur to you. Yeah, the no Amar, because they say he shut off Naara, the river took it, and then somebody put other piece of meat there. Now, what the chances are that this happens, I don't know. I mean, again, he went down to the riverside, and he washed the meat. Then he left, and he forgot some meat there. So Rav decided that he wants to. He saw that there was people being very makel on these halachas b'chlal. So he decided he's going to be machmer and say maybe it's a new piece of meat. That's one story. Chad bar nash have a mahal peshuka.
That's what happened in Europe with Nikur. That's why Ruchatzkel Abramsky made a takanos to assur it. That's why we don't. Well, most Ashkenazim today don't eat the back of the animal.
Right. Correct.
It's the same reason.
Well, because the Olah was being makel.
The Olah was being makel. So he said, "Okay, no more backs of the animals. Don't do Nikur. Finish."
That's where it comes from. That from him?
I believe so. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's why in Eretz Yisrael they really are able to, because they were never makabel that takanos. But most American Ashkenazim come from Europe.
No, he was in Europe before that. Oh. Okay, so Chad bar nash, that's one story. Chad bar nash have a mahal peshuka tar kupon. He was walking in the street holding meat. Also, daisa v'chatafti minei v'takalte. So a bird came and grabbed it from him and put it down someplace else. Chazar boy misivna. So he went to go get the meat that the bird took. So Amar le Rav asur. So Rav said to him, it's asur. Right? Tino Amar basar denavela havastino talak. They were afraid that the bird took a different piece of meat and he took it and he put it down. And he put another one in that place. Yeah, another story. Ginai shot of Zikin, the river called Ginai. So it overflowed, and it took a bunch of wine skins. I guess they're like flasks. Also, Uvda Kamei Reb Yitzchak Reb Elazar, and it came in front of Reb Elazar. Amar Yechkimun Shafya Kitroi. That look, the people that the bartenders should look at the seals that they have on their flasks. The flasks come with seals. And if it's there, if they recognize their seals, then you could take it. Otherwise, you can't take it. Right? Another story. Nuknika, that's not a hot dog. Right? Nuknika is wine. They found it in a shul in Buli. Also, Uvdu Kamei Rav Yirmiyah. So again, they basically found wine in the shul. They came in front of Rav Yirmiyah. Amar Yischakmu Sekruya with the time. Whoever is in charge of the wine, let them make a simon on the wine. Right? So Karaisa means dafka red. I don't know why it has to be red. And if they recognize that it is, then they're allowed to use it. If not, then you can't. Yeah, Gedi Itzli, Eshtakach Be'israti Dekufya. There was a roasted meat, and they found it in the Srati and the streets of Gufta. And they allowed it for two things: Mishum Mitzia or Mishum Roy Ma'achido. I mean, there were two issues there. Can you eat the meat? Well, number one, if somebody lost it, so do you have to do a Shavas Aveda? And we worried about it's the guy's meat. Mishum Mitzia, so Mitzia, the Tanya Matzah Miyad Ari Miyad Hagayis Mishanis Ayam Mishanis Anor. Right. So if you save it from a lion and from armies, from the rivers and waters, when we srachi gadol, and from large cities, and with plachi gadol, also they're both large type of areas, meaning the person is going to give up on ever finding his thing. So the baal is miyayish. So if you find something, then you're allowed to keep it. Right? So you find money in farakaway on the floor, you're allowed to keep it because it's because we're assuming that it gets if the guy was miyayish. And also, it's the reason why you're allowed to eat it is because most people are going to be Jewish. Yeah, so therefore it's going to be mutter. Bishtakach man the Beis Rebbe, and that's they found out, not man min the Beis Rebbe, and they found that this piece of meat belonged to Rebbe's house. I don't know how they knew that, but I don't get it. So they're proving that it must have been the right thing, and if it wasn't from Rebbe's house, what would that? It wouldn't change the halacha. I was just like, we're trying to say, you see it's from, and if it wasn't, I don't know. I don't get that. From Amud Beis, it was sounded like they were proving that the guy that gave the horse meat on Friday, right? The guy that gave the horse meat. So they were showing that, you see, you tried to say that it's from a goy's and it's not a problem, and you see that it is a problem. Here it was saying, and you see that it was found that it was Rebbe's. So I don't know. Yeah, fine. Another story. Eagle to governor Ishtaka Pundika de Levi. They found an eagle of governor, cheese. Those cheeses come in these big circles. Circle of cheese they found in Rebbe's Pundik, in Rebbe's hotel. And they allowed it for two reasons. Again, the same issue, because it was a Hashavas Aveda and the people going there. If you save anything from something that somebody would normally give up on, right? So then, because the Bailam and you would think that it's a problem of Gvinas Nachri, but since most of the people traveling there were Yidden, so therefore it's okay. Right? The Rebbe Lazar, Rebbe Yossi, and also there was and it found out that it came from Rebbe Lazar ben Yossi. So it's the same thing, same story as before, that they found that it was from Rebbe, and this was from Rebbe Lazar ben Yossi. Okay, so Amar Ramona Kamei Rebbe Yossi. Ramona said in front of Rebbe Yossi, "Banan Chamyan Rabbanan Machriz." Right? The Rabbanan would still announce it, meaning even though it's theirs, the Rabbanan would still go Lifnim Meshuras Hadin and decide to try and find who lost it. Amar Lei, so he said to him, "At in Haviyasam Mashkach Le'Nesavt, do you think that you would do the same thing? You wouldn't take it for yourself?" Rav Yaina Avuch, your father, Lo Amar Cain didn't say this. Elo Amar, he said, Halavai kad nishkach nashkach mipiyusa legoyu. He says, Halavai, that if we would find something in a big busy street and we'd be able to keep it. So you see, your father would have kept it. So who says, why are you saying that you would have announced it? Even so, and even if he said that, he did find something and he didn't take it for himself and he announced it. Right? So basically, comes out from this that the kohanim would taka announce it. Now this Gemara gets into the whole sugya of basar shenesalim and ayin, which is there's a lot of confusion with basar shenesalim and ayin. People think that you leave a piece of meat in your house and you leave it with a guy, so then that's basar shenasalim and that's incorrect. Basar shenasalim and is if you leave the meat outside by itself, like the Gemara he says that Rav was machmer because he said maybe the bird came and brought another piece of meat, which is a wild chashash. Right, so what's the chances that you leave a piece of meat outside? You're making a barbecue, right? You leave your meat outside, you go back inside to get some beer or whatever, and nobody was there. When you come back out, so you can't eat the meat according to Rav. Levi disagrees. So what the shear is, I don't know. But first of all, there's two mistakes. One is, first is that Ashkenazim hold that b'diavad the food is fine. It's only lechatchila. Sfardim have a problem. Sfardim wouldn't be able to eat the food. Ashkenazim hold that the food is fine b'diavad, right? Which many are not aware of. The other one is that when you leave a goy in the house alone for a bunch of hours, so people ask, is it basar shenasalim anayin? That's not nesalim anayin. That's a different issue that you don't trust that maybe the guy took the meat and decided to eat it and then decided to replace it. That's not a nesalim anayin issue. That's just not trusting a guy. Right, that's all. It's a different sugya totally. But whatever it is, so that's this sugya. Okay.
So leaving it on the grill would be a problem?
What do you say?
Leaving it on the barbecue would be a problem?
Well, if the barbecue's covered, not a problem. But if the barbecue's uncovered, we're afraid, mamish, like this case. He said, Rob said, a bird might come. A bird came and took his meat. It's not exactly a bird took a piece of meat, and he saw the bird drop the meat. So he said, no, maybe the bird in the interim went and got another treifa piece of meat and punk dropped it, and it looked exactly like your meat. I mean, what are the chances? Right? So it's like it's a derabanan. It's not a deraisa because all these things. If you find a piece of meat in the street, what do you say?
The bird is going to go onto your grill, or you left it by the river. It was a raw piece of meat.
I understand, but how do you know if you leave it on the grill open? Who says that the mechal between raw meat and cooked meat?
It's a little bit hot.
I don't know.
Is there a zman, like can you blink?
Is there a zman what?
Is there a zman, like you close your eyes, you take a nap?
I don't know. That's what Naftali just
Baron,
asked.
muted or Baron?
You muted, Rabbi. You muted.
You have to get Rabbi Yochalin's toothpicks for your eyes to keep your eyes open. That's.
I don't know what the shear is. I don't remember.
So every time you barbecue, you got to have a camera there? You need like a motion sensitive camera to let you know
You
if
have to
something
leave
happens?
somebody by the
That would
grill.
work.
What's the big deal?
Okay, so you just get a ring and you point it at the barbecue.
Whoa,
Well,
hold on.
you never do it. If you're grilling, you're going back inside to the kitchen. That happens all the time. You're going back in to get whatever you're getting.
Well, Yossi, not all of us have secrets like you and parrots about cooking, you know. Some of us let people watch the grill, you know.
Oh, the grill is a little bit further of a chashash.
Why can't you just use your logic? Why can't you just use your logic?
Aaron's why.
Oh, don't be silly.
Andy, logic doesn't taste good on the grill.
I mean, like if you perhaps imagine you're cooking on the grill and you know what you have on the grill, you go in for 5 minutes, you know what you expect to see. If you see something different, then something is, then you have to be cautious. If he sees that he has 10 hot dogs and they're still sitting there as he left them, why should he be cautious? To think that a bird comes is really, really out there.
I know, but that's Lamaisa. That's what the Sfardim pass. That's Rav's din, my friend. It's not logical, but that's his din.
So Spartan Parsons, somebody has to watch the grill the whole time?
One second. Who's it? Sfardim Paskin? Yeah, you have to be out there the whole. I don't know what the minimum time is, but yeah.
What if the grill is closed?
No, if it's closed, it's fine. Right?
Raw meat in your house, right? You mentioned. Is that a problem? If there's a guy in the house, a cleaning lady in the house, it's not a problem. Raw meat.
That's not a problem. It's only if you yaitz of a nichnas is not a problem. But if you leave, let's say you go up to New York, and you leave a goyish cleaning lady with the meat that's unsealed, and you leave her there for a whole day, and she's not scared that somebody's going to come, then me'ikara din, your meat is treif, so is your whole kitchen.
Got it. Noted.
Right, but that's
Hey, let's not go there.
as long as she's afraid that somebody may come, then you're okay.
Or if you have cameras in the house, I guess, like they use with meshkichim.
Are the cleaning girls afraid of the cameras?
They have to know about it. They have to know about it.
You have to tell them, and you have to tell them you check in. They have to be afraid of the cameras. Most people don't realize that there are cameras going on.
Right.
Wait,
right.
what? Whoa. But if you're using the cameras, you can tell if it's the same meat or not.
No. So that's 1 second. So let's say b'di'evet. If you recognize the meat, then it's going to be okay. But you have to mamish recognize the meat. It's not like, it looks like a steak.
No, but
it's
you
a
can see
steak.
that
You have to
nothing happened
recognize
to
that
it.
this is the piece.
So you get a brander.
Yeah, that would work, but that's a seal. Right? That's the same. No, but let's say you recognize, it works with cooked food too. Let's say you had a cholent and you left your cholent. So cholent's also considered meat. But if you recognize your cholent, then it's okay. There's a big kula out there, and I don't know the Maramakum for it, but there's an eitzah for all this. If you tell, we're only chayshid that the guy is going to take the meat without permission and then replace it, right? With treifa meat that's cheaper. If you tell the guy before you leave, you can have whatever meat you want, it's on the house. Then there's no chashash, because no guy will ever take money out of their pocket and pay for something if they don't have to. So that's a big cool. If you shouldn't leave any
and a Jew would. I'm saying a Jew
I'm not
wouldn't
saying
either.
a Jew. I'm not saying
Right.
a
I'm
Jew
saying
would.
no person would.
They should not teach this Gemara to fresh Bali Tshuva. It's enough to make him go off.
It's Bedavka by Goyin. There's a story. There's a Maggid Shir, one of the Rosh Yeshiva technically in Gates of Yeshiva. It was Real Rosenbaum from Hungary, and he had a goita by his house, and then he realized that for a half hour or something, no one was there. And he said it was a chazaka that the goyim are gazlanim, and all the books added up, and there was nothing missing. And he went over and over and over again until he found there was a spoon missing, a silver spoon. He said, must be because of the chazaka, it must have taken something. He was happy to find something gone.
Okay.
I don't like the story. I'm sorry. That rubs me the wrong way.
No, but it isn't here. But everybody knows the famous airplane story, right?
But the guy
that got up, he was about to eat his pastrami. Tell me the other one doesn't know this mice.
No, I don't know it.
You don't know it?
I know it.
Yeah. The famous
But
mice.
did
The
he
guy
have
was eating a pastrami sandwich and he got up to go to the bathroom. Right? And then he came back and he said, I can't eat the meat because it's nesalim and ayin or whatever, right? And then maybe a guy took it. So he decided not to eat it. And then the guy turns to him and says to him, why are you not eating? He tells him, because I'm not allowed to, because I left it. He says, well, I replaced all your pastrami because I wanted to taste kosher pastrami or whatever meat. I wanted to taste it. So I replaced it with mine and I took yours. So your Torah is very smart. That story, if it ever happened, is totally shaloika halacha. Totally. Halacha says you eat that meat perfectly fine. There's no chashash because the guy's
How awkward
scared.
was the rest of that flight, though?
I don't believe the story.
What?
Yaakov, you know that one of these, what's
Wait,
called,
why is it against the
has a
law?
better end to it.
Well,
And at
can't-
the end, the
there's
guy
people
really
want-
was a terrorist.
You could eat the meat. There's no chashash.
Okay.
What? What do you
Well,
think?
our
that two parrots.
Jewish storytellers has an end to that story. Really, the guy was a terrorist, and then became a ger, and then became a this. He wrote the
Oh,
thing.
I mean, anyways.
Later
okay,
became
so
a Rosh Yeshiva.
Yeah.
And for $17,000 a time, you can go to the eye and hear that story live.
Yeah. Okay, parrots. You need a new speaker, parrots, also. But all right.
It's Yaakov.
Yes.
But the Diha had a very similar mindset. The one
With
time
what?
on a plane. And I knew the halacha was that I could eat it, but for some reason I wasn't sure. I opened my meal and then remembered that I had to go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom, came back, and I was like, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't. I don't know why I thought so. I had told the guy next to me he could have my meal. He says, what do you mean? You're not hungry? I said, yeah, I'm starving. But there's the Jewish law that you can't, whatever. He says, why? I said, because maybe someone replaced it. He said, I actually thought about taking some. I didn't actually, but I thought about it.
Okay.
But it was
Yeah, but
close.
not replacing it. He wasn't going to replace
No,
it.
he wouldn't have replaced it.
Right. So
No.
that's a proof to this shita.
Yeah.
Why are these people sitting such a moronic goyim that they think that a kosher meal is better than their beautiful, freshly served food with no wraps on it and on plates? Like, what do they think?
I don't think he was thinking that. I think his part was because the people who get kosher meals always get them about 10 minutes before everyone else. He was just hungry. He wanted to take something.
Right here.
Next time, you just bring your meal into the bathroom with you.
There you go. Then you have a different issue.
That's where
right?
it came
Answers
from.
in the bathroom. Okay. Anyway,
You can't take it back to where it came from.
Yeah, okay. All right, so let's go back. I just figured. I'm sorry, but it was kedai. These halachas don't come up that often, and we haven't had halacha l'maisa in a while, so it's kedai to spend some time on it. I believe. Okay, Zog the Mishna. 15 minutes. Behema, a little more. Behema shenimtzes yerushalyim. Now again, let's get back to what we were discussing. All these cases of animals things that get lost in yerushalyim. What their status is. So behema shenimtzes yerushalyim vad migdal haeder. So behemoths that are found from yerushalyim to migdal haeder. And that measurement, that radius, and all surroundings, charim oilos. So charim are oilos. Nekeva zivche shelamim, and nekevas are shelamim, right? Because zacharim can be oilos and nekevas, which we'll see in the Gemara, and nekevas, a nekeva can't be an oilah. So the assumption is a nekeva is shelamim. If it's right for Pesachim, it's going to be for Pesach, within 30 days of Pesach, we're going to assume that it's a korban Pesach. Fine. In the beginning, who had to pay? So remember we discussed that every korban comes with nesachim, right? You have to bring the flour and the oil and the wines and all that stuff. Who's chayiv to bring it? So we're saying that let's say somebody found an animal from yerushalyim to migdal haeder, right? So we're saying it's kachim. So he brings it up to the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, who's paying for the nesachim? Right. So originally the Beis Hamikdash said, okay, the guy who found the animal has to pay for it. But then Chazuli Menich.
Something that's been bothering me about all of these Mishnayos. What did the whole Elam Atzias go out the window?
The what?
The whole Elam Atzias. It's not Harei yerushalyim, none of these. What's going on over here?
It's not his. Who says it's his?
So why should he have to bring the nesachim?
I don't know, but that's what happened. That's what happened. I don't know, because they put him on the book for it. Well, that's what you'll see. The next line is that they changed it. The Olam got smart, right? So anybody who found an animal would run the other way. What do I need that headache for? I got to go bring this animal up to the Beis Hamikdash, and I got to pay out of my own pocket for all the nesachim. So skinu bezin shinu nesachim b'ayim mishal tzibur. So the chachamim mesakin that it came from the tzibur. Amar Reb Shimon shiva dvar miskinu bezin v'ze'achim. There were 7 things that Beis Din was mesakin that to make things easier. This is one of the 7. Then what was the next one? Let's say a guy. So you already learned that a guy, we do accept a guy's korbanos. But he sent the money with the nesachim too. So craven mishaloi. Then obviously we take his money for the nesachim. But let's say he didn't send nesachim money. All he sent was animal money. Craven mishal tzibur. It comes from the tzibur, right? V'chein ger shemeis v'niyach zvachim. A ger died and he left over korbanos. Im yesh lo nesachim craven mishaloi. If he has money left over in his yerusha, so then yerusha has to pay for the nesachim. And if not, it comes from the tzibur. Tnai, that's another one. Then the 4th one is tnai bezdin who al kohen gadol shemeis. There's a tnai bezdin. If the kohen gadol dies, so tnai minchasei kreven mishal tzibur. His mincha comes from the tzibur. The kohen gadol had to bring a korban every single day, right? Partial in the morning, partial in the afternoon. Let's say he died in the afternoon. So then what? So you take the money not from his yerusha, but you take the money from this shel tzibur.
This is the minchas chavitin, right?
Minchas chavitin, yes.
Then they weren't masakin a new kohen gadol right away, or is this?
It's so much if they were not masakin. It's so much if they were not when they were not masakin. Yeah, if they're masakin a new kohen gadol, that's a Mishna in Menachos, which I happen to have seen today. Agav, not because that I would ever quote you a Mishna in Menachos off the cuff. I promise. Okay.
But even that Mishna in Menachos is not because it's the new kohen gadol's chiyuv. It's because why not?
You need to do a full. It
was also a takana.
Yeah.
Rabbi
Yehuda Mishal Yarshin. It's from the Yarshin. Ushlema Haisa Kreva, but they have to bring the whole thing. Meaning, there's no such thing as bringing half. They would have to. Again, we said that normally the kohen gadol gives a whole chavit, how you say chavit, not chavis, whatever chavit, I don't know. He brings and he brings half in the morning, half in the afternoon. Okay, yeah, whatever it is, right? So he brings half in the morning, half the afternoon, but you can't bring half initially. So you'd have to bring a whole portion. Fine. On the salt and on the wood that the kohanim could benefit from them. Meaning normally kohanim are not, it's over on meila, they're not allowed to use kachim. But it's got too complicated for these kohanim when they needed to burn the korbanos that they're able to eat. So they just allow them to use the salt and the wood. Okay, the Gemara is going to discuss that. If somebody by mistake used the ashes from the para aduma, then you're not going to be over on meila on that either. Okay, the Gemara is also going to go discuss as well. And kinin that became puzzle, then they also, whatever you're going to use instead of that, comes also from the tzibur. Whoever is the one that's in charge of giving the kinin, he's the one he's the one on the hook. Yeah, meaning whoever is the one that's in charge of making sure the kinin are brought, so he also has to take care of the ones that are puzzle. Okay, so Zogdi Mora, Rav Hoshia Rabba Omar, Love b'demei shanu. It doesn't mean that we said again, if you find males, they become oilus. If you find females, they become nekevas. So it doesn't mean that you're actually bringing them as oilus and nekevas. It's just you're taking the money of it. Yeah, that's how much money that you're on the hook for. Do we tell a person to go be over on meila and kachim? Right, meaning basically what you have to do is you have to take the animal and be mavatal it onto money. So depending on what the price of is an oil or shelamim, that's what you have to do. Right, but lamaisa it's meila, you're not allowed to do that stam on an animal. Let's say it's a regular kosher animal, that's a korban, so you can't do that. Ella hilchu ben achar roiv. What the pshat is that we're going basa roiv. Im roiv scharim oilus. If there's a suffix, right? So roiv scharim are oilus. Im roiv nekevas if shelamim. And roiv nekevas are shelamim. So Gemara asks, "Ve'ena shlamim b'aymin as scharim nekevas." What do you mean? But shelamim, granted, oilus can't be females, right? But a shelamim can be a male. And again, we're saying oilus. If it's a male, it's an oila. Fine, that's fine. Can't be a female, can't be an oila. But a male could be a shlamim, right?
Are there words missing from this? What does that mean? Imroiv zcharim oilos.
What?
Where he found it, roiv of the animals, where's zcharim oilos? Then this is an oil.
No. He's saying that the im, meaning you don't know what if this is an oila or a nekeva. So therefore,
he found the zachar.
It's like everything in yerushalyim. Every word really needs two words filled in. Right. It means that if you're not sure, then roiv males are oilus, and if you're not sure, roiv females are shlamim. That's all.
As opposed to what? If we are sure what it is?
Yeah, obviously, if you're sure, then there's nothing to talk about.
So was he? I don't know what he's saying then.
He's just saying that we don't have any idea whether this korban is a oila or a shlamim. That's all. We don't know. So Mela, if it's a zachar, we assume that it was an oila. If it's a nekeva, we assume that it's a shlamim.
So what's imroiv? Imroiv zcharim?
You want to fill in the words if we don't know what the animal is, so then roiv zcharim are oilus.
Oh.
Right?
And therefore we say this is from the roiv.
Correct, yeah. Yes, and it's I don't know why punk this yerushalyim. I mean, that's this yerushalyim. In my 20 blot experience of yerushalyim, this is a typical line of yerushalyim. Right? What should I tell you? Yeah. Fine. So the Gemara says, the shlamim can't come from schar and nekevas. So fine. So Gemara answers, says, this is what he does. He takes them and he makes them chulin. Right? Meaning he makes them have a mum so that they become chulin. And then he goes on top of the base. Then he goes and then he makes them into oilos.
Something sounds wrong. You don't do that.
What?
No, intentionally make something
No, but no, you let it get. No, you can't intentionally give it a mum. You have to wait for it to get a mum. You wait for it to go. No, that's good. You're enough man enough. Totally good. But Omer of Zeira, Kamodat Omer Tamon. Like we said, tnai Beis Din who ala maestro sheyikru oilos. It's a tnai Beis Din, right? We always get that back down to the tnai Beis Din. Beis Din made a tnai that you could do this, right? That the leftover is going to become oilos. Cain atmar ufhacha tnai Beis Din who ala oivdos sheyikru oilos. So here too, you're going to say that it's a tnai Beis Din that the ones that get lost that could become oilos. Tom Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Yaakov Baracha, Ein Zeh Mezid. Is this not a mezid? You're doing this on purpose. It's one thing if it happened by mistake, you make it tnai Beis Din, but this you're doing it on purpose. Tnai Beis Din ain't amazing. No, Beis Din said that this is what happens when you find the lost animal. This is what you do. So therefore, Beis Din said. Fine. Amar Rav Yasa, Ada Ana Tamon. Rav Yasa said that when he was over there again in Bavel, right? Shamas called Rabbi Yehuda Shal Shmuel, and I heard Rabbi Yehuda asking Shmuel. It's interesting how much of yerushalyim is quotes from Bavli, from people that were in Bavel. Every daf Kemat has that, right? So Hifra Shikla Yomes. Somebody, right? We had this Gemara before. If somebody gives his machzah shekel and then he dies, Amrli Yiplu Nedava. So what happens? You give it as a nedava. Meiser Asiras eifah shaloi, and what's the extra tenth of an eifah from the kohen gadol? What happens with that? Rabbi Yochanan Amar Yilichem Yam Melech. You put it into the Yam Melech. Rabbi Lezer Amar Yiblu Nedava. It goes to the nedava. Asiras eifah shel kohen gadol. What about the asiras eifah of a kohen gadol? Right, that's also a special korban that the kohen gadol brings. Rabbi Yochanan Amar Chutza Isa va'achar kach mekadsha. You split it up. Right, that's what we're discussing. That you have to split up the mincha, and then you mekadosh it. No, first you make it hektish, and then you split it up. So Gemara asks, Masnisa pligi Rabbi Yochanan, the Mishna. What he does is he's makriv half, and then you destroy the other half. Right, so if you never made the other half kaddish, so then why do you have to destroy it?
Where does it say that in the Mishnah? Is that because if he died, the other half, it's a Machlokes who brings the other half? Where does it say in our Mishnah that you destroy a half?
No, because the Mishnah says if you don't, you have to bring a whole thing. What are you doing with the other half?
That's what I thought. Yeah, it's not clear in the Mishnah. It's in Tir. It means
right. So makar melza over. So pasala shekein afilu mois yachol yam melech. Right. He's going to say that no, the Mishnah means that it has to go to the yam melech. The other half does have to go. It has to go into the yam melech. Masnisa pliga rishim melokish. So that would say the Mishnah disagrees with Rish Lakish. Nimtzu shnei chatzayin kreven or shnei chatzayin avud. And if you find two halves, shnei chatzayin, two halves, that are craven, or shnei chatzayin avudin, and then two halves get destroyed. V'tani Allah, and we learned on that. Mechza rishon and mechza sheni tu b'tzurasan v'yotzal beis hasreifa. The first half and second half, what you do is tu b'tzurasan, which means you let it sit overnight, which makes it then puzzle, and then you put it out to the beis hasreifa, right? But why do you have to make the other half? According to Rish Lakish, why do you have to make? They're not going to do anything with them anyway. So why do you have to let them sit overnight first, according to Rish Lakish? Rabbi Shmuel, he holds like Rabbi Shmuel. The Amar Isarin Mekadesh. The Isarin they are Mekadesh because you have to take it and put it into the when you measure it, right? You have to measure out. Again, he's giving it an Isarin of flour, and you have to split it up. So once it goes into the measuring cup, that's considered a kli hektish, and then that makes everything hektish, right? Like we learned, anytime something goes into a kli of hektish, so in a memela it becomes kaddish. Fine. So kisha kohen miskarav tchilu lavoida. So when a kohen comes to do the avoida, maybe asirus eifah shaloi va'oivda biyadoi. He brings his tenth of an eifah, and he brings the korban himself with his own hands. Yeah. This applies to a kohen gadol, or even to a regular kohen, before they bring their own asiras eifah. So then Avaidasa Ksheira, then their Avaida is going to be kosher. Meaning if they do this before, meaning if they do the Avaida before they bring this korban, their Avaida is still kosher. Meaning even though their initial korban of the day should be this assur eifah, still if they don't do it, their Avaida is going to be kosher. Ramana wanted to say, the day that a kohen came to do the avodah, and that day they decided that he's kohen gadol, maybe shtaim, then he has to bring two korbanos. Achas lechinuchai, one he brings for chinuch, doesn't mean chinuch to educate, it means to it doesn't mean educate, I guess it comes on the word educate, it means his initiate. Right, I guess it would be initiate would be. He's got this is his initial.
Every kohen, like when he got smicha to do avodah, he had to bring a korban that first day.
Right, exactly. Right, that one is chinucha, and one is because he has a chiyuv that day. Fine, tefune. So what does it mean tefune? Literally tefune. It's not so clear from the Gemara exactly how you touch tefune. That's what the Gemara is going to dash it out. Tefune. So b'shas havos tefune, vein b'shakos tefune. When he brings it, that's when you bake it, but you don't bake it in the morning. Meaning you shouldn't try and jump the gun and try and bake it before the day starts. It has to be dafka baked once the day starts. Right? The Mishna says that they were mimed the people to make the chavisim. I'm sorry, it's a kasha. But Taninon, right? But we learned Hamidu Isa Chavisim Lasais Chavisim. They were mimed before the night. This part is also left out. A version of the Gemara. That's something that's also missing. Hamidu Isa. If you read if you read the words straight, what's the kasha? The people that were in charge of making these chavisim, these korbanos for the kohanim. That last is chavisim. Okay, of course. So they did it. No, but what's missing is that they did it before the day. So it's a kasha. We just said you have to do it during the day. So what it means is they made the hot water in order because they made it like a bagel. They made this cooked thing like a bagel. They dropped it into hot water first, and then or I don't know if they did it first or after. Whatever it was dropped into hot water. So the hot water they made before daytime, but the actual baking had to be later. Right, tefune. So when do you bake it? Rav Yasser,
it means I'm sorry. It means hot water or hot oil. They heated the oil up first. It was fried.
I don't know. I thought chamen always means hot water.
Yeah.
I don't know. When we get to
the pasuk says it was fried in oil.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they dropped in water too. I think. Okay. He would fry it, right? Because it was fried, and then he would bake it. He would bake it, and afterwards he would fry it. So we got two different recipes. What's interesting though, they're both b'shem Reb Chanina, right? So one Talmud was, I don't know if they were hearing different things, right? Unless it's different Reb Chanina, I don't know.
Maybe did it both ways.
I don't know. So it's a Machlokes, which come first? Fine. Tefune te'afen or no? What's tefune mean? They should be baked. No, we have no from the korban Pesach, right? No means it should be quasi. No means you don't make the korban Pesach. No, it's partially, it's cooked. So, but that's what it is. He did it baked after it was partially cooked. Rebbe Amar tefena no. They should be baked when it not no teofen no is like a play on words from no means that they should be nice, right? Which that means this is how they're each one learning because it should be nice before you fry it. Fine. Rabbi Daisa.
Is that a Machlokes?
Machlokes, explaining the Machlokes.
No means par baked, and no, it means fully baked. What does it mean, bake it nice? That means fully baked, L'chaira. And you fry it after that.
I don't mean, yeah. Okay, yeah, fine, I hear that. Yeah. Fine. Rabbi Daisa Aimer Tefena Riba. Right? Means they should bake a lot. Right? Meaning there's going to be a lot of times they're going to bake this. Fine. Asyan Elaine Palgavasa, Kihinin Palgavasa. The same people that are being chaylik, it's meaning it's lishitase. That's another way of saying lishitase. I mean, well, it's not really shitase. I mean, it's the same Machlokes as another Machlokes. Right, the one that says that you bake it nicely, he's going like the shita that says first you bake it and after that you fry it. Means that it should be partially cooked. And he holds Kamandar Mitzagna. He holds like the one that says you fry it first, and then you bake it. Fine. Then the Gemara goes back to what happens when the kohen gadol died in the middle of his day. Again, the kohen gadol brings a korban, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, right? Half a eifah, he splits it up. So let's say he dies in the middle. So lois saif davar shemes, not only where he dies, ela filu nitma, even if he becomes tamei in the middle of the day, but filu nitcha mimum, even if he gets pushed off because of a mum. Then he's going to it's also going to have the same din. Fine. Tani Rabbi Yehuda Bapazi Dvar Dalia. He loda filu nidcha mimum. So he says even if it was nidcha from mum. Fine. Minay lekayin gadol shemeis v'loy minu achar tachtav sheitim chasei krev mishel yarshim. Let's say they kohen gadol died and they never appointed anybody under him. So who's in charge of paying for his korban mincha in the afternoon? So it comes from the yarshim, right? Is it just that afternoon or is it every day? I'm not sure. I think it's every day till they appoint a new kohen gadol.
Oh,
right. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe if there's no kohen gadol, they don't need to bring it. I'm not sure. So minay the kohen gadol shemeis v'lo yivinu achar tachtav. If the kohen gadol that died and they didn't appoint anybody other, shetem min chasei krev mishal yarshim. His yarshim have to bring it. Tamalaymar mibanav from his kids. Mibanav yasa oiseh brings it from his kids. Yachol yiviyana lachatzim. So you think that they should bring it, half and half, right? Just like the father did. He goes half and half. Tamalaymar oiseh says oiseh kula. Amarti means that you bring it all at once. Doesn't come from the kids, it comes from the tzibur. Shenemar chak olam, right? It's a chak forever. Misha bris krusaloi. So whoever has the bris is that he's the one that has to bring it. Kalo taktir, kalo laktara. It's going to be completely burned, and you have to make it totally burned. Right? Meaning it's just saying a different din here that. Open this korban, it gets totally burned. Okay, I guess it's 10 o'clock. Okay, so we'll stop here. All right, fine.
The first drasha here was an interesting
okay, so two more block. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
What do you say?
The first pasuk that he brought as a drasha, the first one, that Mibanav Yeaseh. Is an interesting drasha. It's not reading the pasuk kipshuta at all. You can't read the pasuk like that to make the drasha. Someone froze.
Thank you so much. It was really nice.
Right, Zagadan?
No, I think I'm frozen.
The service working fine there.
Yeah, you defrosted though.
Okay, go ahead.
The first drasha, I think it's who's the Talmud Lemon Bibanav Yeyase? Rabbi Yehuda Bepazi. It's impossible to read the pasuk like that. Because the pasuk's talking about the second kohen gadol, the one who took his place.
Right.
I mean, the reading of the pasuk is by Kohen HaMashiach Tachtav Bibanav Yasa. He should do it. So the pasuk is mashma fakert from his drasha. Pasuk is mashma that the new kohen gadol HaMashiach is the one who brings it, and he's saying that it can't be like that because the minchas chavitin is one whole thing. Elamai, you have to read it mibanav yasa from the last kohen gadol, but it's impossible to read it that way. How do you? I mean, it's it's a drasha that's mamish against Pashpashat and Pasuk.
Okay, so what are you saying?
I don't know. It's an interesting drasha. I don't know how you have drashas with psukim. You take them out of context a little bit, but this is impossible to read the pasuk that way.
Okay.
It's just interesting. Yeah. I mean, it's not fair, obviously, but it's not something I've seen before.
I hear. I wish I was holding enough in this sugya to know exactly how the psukim should be darshaned or not.
Yeah.
Just a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just a quick question back to the barbecue discussion. If you're having a Sephardi over for a barbecue, is there an issue with that if you walked away from the grill?
Well, I understand? Can't you just close the grill and then you don't have a problem?
Yeah, I'm just saying theoretically that concept of he could eat by you eidach and then be surim. For you, it's b'diavad. If a situation like that, it's mutter. Is that some sort of an issue?
The chayra.
Yeah, you mechayiv to tell him.
Usually it's the opposite. In kashrus and basa b'chol of taruvus, it's usually the Sfardim that are the makilim and the Ashkenazim are the machmirim. It's a shaila in the poskim. Let's say you're a butcher and a big shaila comes up and you call the rav and he says, "Oh, it's a hefsid meruba for you, so you could be mekel, right?" But Lamaisa, if I'm coming to buy from you, what kind of hefsid is for me? I'll go to the other butcher. I don't have to be samech on your hefsid. Right? For you got a haeder. Do you have to tell everybody that walks in that, hey, I got a big cooler here. For me, it was a hefsid. So, but you may not want to be samech on it. Right? I don't remember what the price can come out. I think they come out that you don't have to say. Right. But if something taka went wrong for a Sephardi, I hear. I'm not sure. I don't know.
I'm just curious in this scenario.
Yeah, I would think that you'd have to.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this getting into the Beis Shammai Beis Hillel by Yevamis that they told each other mamzerim?
Maybe. I hear. All right, I got to sign off because I got email.
Do you have maybe like 10 minutes later? It's the Gemara halacha. This Gemara and brachas. That's why I'm asking you, Badafka. It's Hilchos brachas.
Try like in an hour and a half. Like 11:30.
11:30, 11:45?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, Shekaya.
All right. Okay, Zayvus.
Alt of Shekaya.